Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be on the state of the collection for the end of 2024 going into 2025. And so like previous videos of my states of my collection, I'm going to be showing you the watches that I've kept and also the new additions I've had. And I've actually doubled my collection for this past year. I've bought quite a few watches and some of them you've seen on the channel and some of them I've yet to make a video on. So I'm going to try and focus more on the watches that I haven't shown you before. Which will be this year's watches, but I'll also go over the watches that I've actually kept in previous years. So to start us off, we'll start with 2019, and that is the Casio A158. I'm actually surprised I still have this watch because this is my main travel watch. Usually when I'm going abroad, I will keep this watch with me just because, you know, in case I lose the watch, it's not that big of a financial hit to my bank account. It's pretty easy to replace. You can find them on Amazon for between 30 to 40 Canadian dollars, which is like 20 to 30 US dollars. So yeah, it fits pretty well. I've taken it swimming, I've taken it hiking. It's been to multiple countries now. There's really no issues with it. I think it's a great watch to own, at least have, you know, one watch in your collection that you don't mind losing and is pretty sturdy. So this one is pretty good. You can see there's not even that many scratches on the crystal, which again, I'm really surprised because I really beat up this watch, and I took this watch paddleboarding in saltwater, and I was actually thinking that this might cause it to rust, especially with the bracelet, but it seems to be holding well. So let me go ahead and put this in this newly acquired watch box. It's actually not really a watch box, it's meant for jewelry, but I find it works well for watches as well. Let's start now with 2020. The only 2020 watch I've kept all these years is my Citizen Chronomaster. So this Citizen Chronomaster was my first big watch purchased, and it was purchased over COVID. And I don't actually wear it as much anymore. You know, it kind of has a dress watch vibe to it, and I think I'm starting to move over to more sporty watches. So this watch doesn't see as much wrist time as before, but I still really like it a lot. It's kind of hard to get that dial in the right position to get that, you know, that intense red feeling, but if you noticed, I'm actually filming in a different location in my house because in the winter time, it's kind of hard to get a good amount of sunlight because the sun's only out for a few hours a day. So that's my 2020 watch, the Citizen Chronomaster. So I'll put it right beside my Casio. And then next, we're gonna move on to 2021, and we'll start with the Casio Pac Man A100. This one is another watch I don't wear very often. It's kind of intense with that yellow gold. I still like the overall design of it, but yeah, I'd say I wear this maybe once a month or once every 2 months, just because it's quite intense with the yellow gold, and it's also hard to read. It has a negative display, and I find that Casio negative displays, they don't have good visibility, and I think visibility is pretty important for me because these two watches here, the Chronomaster and the A158, these are quite legible. This one not so much, but I do like how it's a limited edition and it's a very unique watch. So let me set that down there. And then we have a few more from 2021. So we have this Seiko, actually not sure what this is called. I forgot what it's called, but this is a Seiko Prospex diver watch. And you're gonna hear in the background my grandfather clock, which I just realized is gonna chime in the background every 15 minutes. So you'll just hear that in the background. But this is a diver watch. It's quartz. I got it from Japan, and I think it's a solar quartz as well. I wear this a lot in the summer because of the silicone strap, and also the plastic case makes it quite durable. And you know, if you're sweating a lot or going into water, this is very useful. So it's definitely a summer watch, and I actually didn't expect to keep it for this long. When I bought this watch, I was actually going to review it and then sell it. But again, because of that plastic case and the silicone strap, it's quite durable. So let's set it down there. I also keep it, I think, because I don't have that many sports watches. I feel like I've been collecting so many dress watches that I wanted something a little bit more sporty in my collection. And then rounding out 2021 is my Omega Speedmaster. This is, I can't remember the reference. It's like 2256.50, something like that, but I'll leave all the watches in the description below. So this one's purchased from Japan, and yeah, I really like this watch. I really think it's a good size. It's 36 millimeters. Let's put it on my wrist. I feel like a lot of diver watches are at least 40 millimeters. So to have this one at a small size, it really fits those with small wrists. And yeah, I've had no complaints with it. Again, I don't wear this as much anymore because I just have so many new watches, but I think this is my only Omega watch in my collection. So I don't think I'll ever sell this watch because it fits really nicely. It's quartz, so minimal servicing, minimal maintenance. So let's set it over there. And then, let me think. I don't remember which year I got this. I think this was in 2022. This is the Omega X Swatch Moonswatch. So this was the collab between the two companies. Well, not really. Swatch owns Omega. So this was really popular in 2022. Everyone tried to get it. And I eventually got it in, I think it was like November 2022. So about 6 months after the initial release. I used to wear this watch a lot. I think I'd wear it at least once a week. Sometimes I wear it every day. But nowadays I don't wear it as much. I think maybe it's because the strap is just it's not degrading. It's not breaking down actually. I'm quite surprised, but I don't know. I just feel like maybe like the light blue and the white is just kind of not in style anymore. I'm not sure, but I don't wear this one nearly as often anymore. So let me set that down there and then see if I got this order right. So this, I believe, is a 2023 watch. So this is a Swatch What If collection. And the whole premise is that, Swatch, when the company was first introduced, they had to decide between a circular and a square design. And they went with the circular design, but then they kind of reached into their archives recently and they pulled out their square watch. So I really like this watch because you can see like there's no case. I mean, there's kind of a case, but on the sides, the crystal just kind of bleeds into the edge here, which gives it that really minimalist look. It kind of looks like a Nomos or a Junghans watch. So I like it for that reason. It does feel cheap, as many swatches do, because if I undo it, like I can't even lay this watch flat because it's like permanently in kind of this curved position, which I guess helps with comfort. But yeah, this watch does feel cheap, but very unique with that square case. So let's set that down there. And then the next two watches are not new releases. These ones are kind of more sentimental in value. This is the Shanghai Watch, also another 2023 acquisition. And I actually don't wear it very much at all anymore. And that's because, the time is time even correct? Yeah, the time is correct right now, but I've noticed that since wearing it, since last year, it's kind of started to lose time. Like the power reserve is now, like 20 hours, which is pretty low, sometimes even less, and it's quite inaccurate. So I think it's just because it's an old watch. Like, even though it's been serviced, it just doesn't keep track of time very well. And, I want to keep this in good condition because it belonged to my grandfather. So I'm going to keep this here. It's mainly for decoration. Actually, in fact, this watch box here is usually watches I wear a lot. And then I just have a few side pillows for watches that I barely wear anymore. And it's usually because they are for protection. So I'll leave that there. Next watch is this one. So this is a Bancor Inca Block anti-magnetic watch. I don't know what the model number is. It is also my grandfather's watch. And if you watch the video, this was probably released in the late 1940s, early 1950s. And this watch really, I really had to be careful with it. I don't know how it happened, but there's already some cracks in the crystal. Don't know how that happened. And also the crown, if I pull it out, is not even. It's actually, like if I wind it or change the time, I don't know if you can tell, but it's not straight. It's not even. So I very rarely wear this watch. just because it's so delicate and it's probably really hard to fix. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell how crooked it is, but again, this is more of a family keepsake, so we'll keep this on the side here. And then that's it for the watches I acquired in previous years. So what is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. There's 9 watches. And then let's move on to 2024 now, which is probably the main reason why you're watching this video. I'm not going to show them in any particular order, but we can start with this Kuoe watch. I'm trying to remember what this was called. This was the Old Smith. So I went to Japan recently, and I actually wasn't completely sold on Kuoe beforehand. I actually wasn't expecting to buy a watch from their company. I was just going to look around and see what the deal was about. But I really like this look. It's a very vintage vibe. I think what really sold me is that it's a bronze case, and I don't see many bronze cases on the market. So I thought that was really cool. It's a very legible watch because, again, I really value legibility in a watch. So this Kuoe watch, I can't remember how much it was. It was at least like maybe 600 Canadian. It's quite steep in price because it has a Seiko NH35 movement, which you can find in watches that are like 200 bucks Canadian. So I don't think the price comes from the movement, because the movement's actually quite basic, but I'm sure it comes from the craftsmanship, because it is a very high quality watch. And I do wear this watch quite a bit. So I will set it down here. And then moving on, what am I going to show you? I'll show you a watch that's kind of similar in vibes. This is a Seagull 1963. So I bought this during the 11/11 sale on AliExpress. And I've been looking at the Seagull since like 2020. So it's actually been quite a few years. And, it's kind of back and forth on pulling the trigger. There's a whole debate on what's like an authentic Seagull. And to be honest, I still don't really know what's an authentic Seagull at this point. There's so many different companies, so many different ways to buy it. This was from the official Seagull website, and this was called the International Edition. Again, I don't know how genuine it is, but I really like it. I think it's pretty well built. I like the vintage look. It's kind of similar to the Kuoe watch, and yeah, I've been wearing this a decent amount. The strap is pretty terrible, but otherwise I think it looks really nice. So we'll set that down. Yeah, the strap is super long. This is for people with very large wrists. Okay, what's next? Here's another vintage looking watch. This is a Timex 364T. That is, as much as I can tell, what the model number is. This is a many complications watch. So you can see I can change the day wheel, and then you can change the numbers wheel. There's a sun and moon day-night indicator, and then there's the date wheel and the time. So this is a very complicated watch, and I picked this up from Japan. There's actually some issues with it. Yeah, it's kind of on and off. I think the battery had an issue and the hands had an issue, and I more or less got both of them fixed. So I think this is a very nice vintage looking watch. And yeah, it looks like those old-time Rolexes or Omegas that had like multiple features. So this one I just started wearing it because I just got the strap a few days ago. So let's steer away from vintage and go to, well, I guess more vintage. So here's another vintage-like watch. This is, I'm actually not sure what model number this is, but I'll put it in the description. This is a Seiko chronograph. I think the designer is called Giargio, Giugiaro. So this is a chronograph it was inspired by a watch from the movie Alien, and it has this really interesting pusher design where it's on the right side, and it's also like really jutted out with this kind of rectangular bar. It's a quartz watch. It has that kind of panda chronograph look. I also picked this up from Japan. Interesting bracelet design too. It's not something you would see typically. So I picked up this watch because I just really like the design. I think the original Seiko watch from the movie Aliens, it was like a black and orange look. but I really like this kind of monochromatic black and white look. Sometimes the display, sorry, the watch face looks like a display, like it looks like an LCD or like an e-ink display. So I wear this one a fair amount. So I'll put that in there. And then, so I'm gonna kick out this swatch because I'm running out of space. So we'll leave that down there. All right, so we're almost done. We just have 2 more to show you. So the next one I'll show you is another watch from Japan. Let's see if I can place this here. See, I can't even place this down properly because I can't lay this one flat. So next one, I made a video on this already, but this is the Casio G-Shock, the Casio Oak manga edition. And I just noticed, I guess it also has a thing where it can't be fully flat. And I think that's pretty typical when you have plastic watches. But this is a special edition released only in Asia. And I did have to buy a secondhand because it was so popular. I couldn't find it, you know, at retail, even though I went to Japan. I just couldn't find it. And, you know, I usually shied away from G-Shocks because they're usually really big. And I mean, this is also really big. Like, this is not a small watch. But I just thought the design looked really cool. It really pops out at you. You know, the materials are just like any other G-Shock, but again, that design, you can't really get it anywhere else. Although I heard that apparently this design was borrowed or like stolen from an artist. I don't know if that's true or not, but regardless, I think it's a really nice watch. There was a blue version as well that I got, but I thought the white one looked better. And I think the market agrees because the white one is substantially more expensive than the blue one. And then finally, this last watch is the reason why I don't wear a lot of my other watches. Is I eventually got a Rolex Oyster Perpetual 36mm silver dial. This was brand new from the dealer, and I wear this watch pretty much every second day. So if I wear this today, then tomorrow I'll wear something else, and then I'll switch back to this one. So this is now my daily wear. And yeah, I've wanted a Rolex for quite a while. I think ever since COVID started, I've wanted one, and so did a lot of people apparently. So yeah, it fits great on my wrist. Actually, even a 34mm, I tried one on and it probably would have fit me as well. But I really like this watch. I think it's simple, it's clean. I don't mind wearing it every second day. And that's probably not going to change for a while now. Of course, I'm still going to collect watches for years to come, but I think this one is something I can wear every day. I can either dress it up or dress it down, and it's quite subtle. I don't think people don't make comments about this one. In fact, actually, people make more comments about this one, this Moonswatch, because it punches out more or stands out more than this Oyster Perpetual. But final shot, you can see these are all of my watches that I've collected. This is now 5 years of watch collecting. And yeah, what is this? 12, 13, 14, 15 watches so far. It's quite a bit. And even out of this collection, I might sell a few, but I'm really satisfied with how I've been collecting so far. I think one thing I really like is that, you know, each watch kind of has its own personality. I try to not collect watches that looked almost identical to another watch that I already have. I notice on Reddit and some other websites or some other videos, like people will have collections where it's basically the same watch, copy and paste it 5 times, just with a different bezel or like a slightly different size or different strap. But I think it's safe to say that each watch that I've collected kind of has its own personality and kind of has its space in my watch box. So the watches that I got rid of from my last day of the collection video includes the Citizen Datejust watch. I felt like it was a dress watch and I had too many dress watches in my collection, so I got rid of that one. And on a similar note, the Orient Star Skeleton, it's also a dress watch, and because I had so many in the first place, it wasn't seeing that much wrist time, so I got rid of it. And just a few honorable mentions from 2024. I did have the Mission to the Moon Phase Black Snoopy edition. I was going to keep this in my permanent collection, but it wasn't really seeing that much wrist time, so I got rid of that. And also the Seiko Issei Miyake disc watch. I was going to keep this one in my permanent collection, but I found that it was kind of hard to read the time with the hour hands on the outside and then the minute hands on the inside. So he also sold that one too. So yeah, on that note, thank you so much for watching. This is the start of a new year. I'm going to try and post a new watch once every 2 weeks, which at the current pace of me buying watches, I'll probably have content for the rest of the year. So again, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more videos. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.